What is music therapy? Mental health? How does it work? Don't worry, we're going to talk all about it and have some real and fun conversations. You're listening to the Live Tune Talks. Welcome back to another episode of the Live Tune Talks. My name is Ivy and I'm your host for today. So in today's episode, we'll be exploring into the topic of music therapy and children with special needs. With the growing needs of music therapy with this population, I'm really excited for us to be hearing from one of the experts in this field in our country. So, joining us for today's episode, we have Cheryl. She's the treasurer for our Malaysian Music Therapy Association right now, and she holds a master's in music therapy from the University of Queensland. She has a big passion in dealing with children and developing music therapy in our local community, and currently works with children and teenagers with special needs. So, with that being said, let's welcome Cheryl. Hi, Cheryl.
Hi everyone! Good to see you, Ivy. Thanks
Good
for
to
the
see you too.
opportunity.
Yeah, thanks so much for being here. And I'm super excited for what we're going to be talking about today. So, to start us off, why not take a moment to say hi to our listeners and tell us a bit about yourself?
Hi everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone who's
Yes.
tuning in from wherever you are. I'm Cheryl, and I've been working as a music therapist in Malaysia for the past 10 years. Prior
Wow.
to that, I was in Australia, and I was working with a range of people with disabilities, older adults in hospital settings, oncology, and I was there for about 5 years practicing as a music therapist before I decided to come back.
Yeah. That's amazing. Wow. And Cheryl, what has inspired you to become a music therapist? Out of so many other careers out there, what is the reason, what has inspired you to become a music therapist?
Right. So this is one of the questions that I get a lot of the time, and I think it started off when I was a college student, and
Mm,
when I was about finishing high school and going to college, I actually volunteered to teach uh, children with special needs at a community outreach program, and it
ah,
was teaching English. So it's
wow.
like a community program trying to help people with special needs through learning English. So I was volunteering there for a bit, and we actually included some music programs and
Mm-hmm.
activities, apart from games and some other form of interaction. So in those music activities that I conducted, I noticed there was a change in their behavior, like their
Mm-hmm.
attention and even their look on their faces, like they were more happy, more relaxed.
Yeah.
And there was this boy in particular who doesn't talk, who doesn't respond much to any other activities.
Mm-hmm.
But the moment I start playing the piano, he would come and sit next to me. So I thought, wow, that was, a form of connection. And I thought, wow, I've never seen this side of that. The carers have not seen this part of that child before, where he actually responds to someone and
Mm-hmm.
willingly initiates or wanting to come and in kind of communicate with the other person. So I found it rather interesting, and I wanted to know more how I could actually use music to help different ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Wow. That's amazing. I love that how, your experience actually a real life experience actually inspired to, pursue this as your career. I love it.
right, thanks.
That's awesome. So Cheryl, with your experiences, like you shared previously, like you have been doing this for about 10 years, right? Over 10 years in Malaysia, working with children with special needs, and I would love to hear, what are some of the challenges that you have faced, working with children with special needs.
Right. So, as you know, like 10 years or so ago,
Mm-hmm.
music therapy is really something new, and
Mm-hmm.
I actually like took a road less traveled, and most of the
Right.
time, people will be asking, "Is that just playing music for people?"
Yeah.
And there were a lot of uncertainties, and people here are unaware, but at the same time, they are wanting to get help. They are reaching out to get help, waiting to get help. So
Mm-hmm.
one of the challenges upon returning is to actually educate and to uh, create awareness among the people, and especially parents uh, who have children with special needs, but they do not know where to look or where to get help, and they do not really
Mm.
have an understanding of how music can actually help them in that area of development. So I guess the challenge is really, to create an awareness, and
Mm.
not so much of getting them to to have more opportunities to um, help the child. So I guess the parents have to be aware of what's available out there, and
Mm-hmm.
music therapy is definitely available now in Malaysia for all those
Yes.
who are seeking help.
Mm. Yeah, I think awareness is so important, and I would say it's just something that we are constantly working with for this field in Malaysia. And I'm glad that it's growing and that we are doing more and more and to reach out to more people that actually needs this service. Yeah.
Right.
Wow. And what would you say, the highlight, what has drawn you to, working with like children with special needs, and what is one thing that you love about, working with them?
Right. So before I actually pursued this course, I
Mm-hmm.
do have an interest and work to work with children in general,
Mm.
and I find that over that over the course of the years and all that, I think that has not changed.
Mm.
Um, so when I went over to Australia, I thought, okay, maybe I am still, yeah, quite young, and I didn't know which population that I would rather work with, like for a longer period of time.
Right.
So I actually tried, like, working with adults, working in
Mm.
rehabilitation, working in different settings. But at the end of the day, I still find that I really want to work with special needs, because I feel that there
Mm.
is just like a need, a great need,
Yeah.
um, and it's it's the age group where you can see most development um, in their lives, and most more obvious development as well in that stage of life. So I feel that they need to have a good overall experience in helping them with their life skills and
Mm.
development, so that it creates a good foundation for them as they grow. So that has always been, in my heart, working with children.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm sure that sense of like rewarding, that really motivates you to continue on this journey as well. Um,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
right. So I guess in working with children, I also have to work with the adults, like their
Mm.
parents and the
Right, right.
carers and their
Yeah.
teachers and whoever. It's like a whole community that takes a village to raise a child. And I
Yes.
guess it's not just children themselves that I'm working with, but really a lot of parents, um, as well as the carers, who have put in
Mm-hmm.
so much effort just to convey or just to help them even through those music activities or those exercises that I've been trying to help them with.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Wow, so good. And my next question is, Cheryl, you've probably have answered this question for many, many times. You probably have lost count, but how is music therapy effective for children with special needs? Um, yeah, could you just elaborate a little bit more, because I probably a lot of our listeners that they have never heard of music therapy, or they have like, music therapy with children with special needs, is that a connection, how does it work? And yeah, I would love to hear about your thoughts on this.
Right. So, as I mentioned earlier, when I first started, there was this boy who was non-verbal and
Mm,
he couldn't communicate verbally. So it was rather difficult
yeah.
um, to use words sometimes to communicate with them. And one
Mm,
of the ways that music is effective is to help them engage in some form of social connection
mm,
and emotional connection. And I find this is one area that music is able to reach to that part of that child.
mm,
And with that, I find that um, even those who are non-verbal or those who have pre-verbal skills,
yeah.
they are able to pick up sounds like maybe vowels, ooh, ah, or make like
Mm-hmm.
simple sounds when we actually engage them using a music, like
Mm,
singing or breathing
yeah.
exercises. And music helps to kind of connect the words and just to motivate them to make sounds first so that it comes naturally. And sometimes when you sing certain songs, they
Mm,
respond naturally, like they will make sounds
mm,
or they start by making certain vowels sounds and things like that. And
yeah.
that is like a small building block towards speech development.
Mm,
So as they grow, um, we try to help them develop a little bit more of how they can, speak and communicate. But
mm,
of course, there are so many other areas as well, like your physical, motor coordination,
yeah.
using musical instruments to help your hand-eye coordination. For those who have poor gait issues like walking, um, using alternate hands on while doing tasks and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So for that, we use a lot of musical instruments, like small percussion instruments
Yeah.
or alternating hand movement and music and movement kind of um, activities to help engage them.
Mm.
So that will be more of the physical and motor skill aspect of things.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think a lot of people just think that music therapy only, is beneficial for people with like emotional needs, but actually it can serve the physical aspect as well, like you have mentioned. So that is really good. And I think a lot of people also think that, have with your experiences with working with like children and teenagers with special needs, have you seen a pattern, or how would I say it? So a lot of people think that, children with special needs, they tend to have a special tendency to cling towards music. Like, do you think that they are particularly gifted in like this area, or yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
All right. So based on like my experience and the range of people with various abilities that I've been
Mm,
working with,
yeah.
there are those who engage music. They engage with music in different ways. So I'll
Mm,
start with those who are really high functioning. I find that there is a pattern, like as you mentioned earlier, where they can pick up songs by ear, and they
Yeah.
actually play by ear. And
Nice.
if you're, in my music therapy experience, we try to use that to help them express through improvisation, to express themselves musically and creatively in ways that maybe words alone is insufficient. So we get them to interact musically.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like when I first started off, I had this
Yeah.
boy who is is on the autism spectrum, but he's on a high functioning autism spectrum. And whenever he comes, we would start with a hello song, like a greeting song.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize that in my previous weeks, I was playing in the key of G. And there was one day he came in and I started playing in the key of C. And then he started making a big fuss, and I was wondering, why is it, what happened? Like it's like our usual routine, and for them, they usually get settled in when there is a routine.
Yeah.
But on that day, I kind of like was trying to figure out what happened, and he said, "No, you're wrong." So he couldn't really communicate me exactly what it was, but so I tried testing with the keys. Then he said,
Yeah.
then he sang that note for me, and then I said, "Oh, is it this one? You mean I'm supposed to start in this key?" Then he said, "Yes." So I find that they have like a very strong relative pitch. Not
Yeah.
just him, but there was another occasion where it happened to another girl as well. Then I realized that there is this kind of pattern where they actually have quite strong relative pitch. I'm not sure if it's due to their structured ability or
Right.
their rigid ways, but actually that showed me that they have very good sense of musicality, and they're able to connect that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Wow.
yeah, so that kind of amazes me as I discovered that along that process. So then, I mean, moving on, of course, there are those who are on the other end of the spectrum where they have very poor functioning and coordination. They engage in music, I would say, differently. Some of them prefer to listen and engage through like relaxation. Maybe for those who are a little bit more hyper, they engage a little bit more through music listening and relaxation, helping them to regulate their emotions through music.
Right.
So I think like some children who has issues with self-regulation, like they get very hyper and they get very excited. They want to do things fast and quick. Music helps to kind of calm them down with their maybe the pace that they're at, and it helps them with their breathing and relaxation. So once they're able to breathe properly or in a more calmer way, it helps to actually regulate their body system as well.
Wow. That's awesome. And I love hearing about all of this, and especially like how, when we hear about children with special needs, we tend to think like, oh, what are the limitations that, they have, what they cannot do. But hearing stories like that, makes us think that, wow, actually they can do a lot of things, and they have, all these things that, the public, the general public, that probably um, do not know yet, and yeah, so thank you so much for sharing these stories with us. So yeah, Cheryl, right now we are in a lockdown, what seems like to be a continuous lockdown. And so what has your experience been like, from having sessions in person, and right now I'm assuming that all your sessions are now can only be done online. So, what was your experience like moving your sessions from in person to like telehealth?
Right. So last year, when the lockdown first happened,
Yeah.
many of us didn't think that far, and we didn't think that it would have prolonged for another year. So initially, it was tough because telehealth is new. Music therapy is also generally quite new.
Mm,
But thank God I have got clients because I have been working here for quite a while. So I have
mm,
got like clients that I've worked with since they were little, and now they're teenagers. So
mm.
I find that in this lockdown, um, we need to find ways to help teenage or even young adults with special needs
Mm.
to also interact and um, express themselves, and be connected socially and emotionally with their peers.
Yeah.
Because I find that it is not just the younger ones who may be who are looking for things to do all the time, but as they grow, their needs tend to focus more on social emotional needs, and
Mm.
especially in this pandemic, um, mental health has been a big issue.
Yeah.
So to help the teens and the young adults with special needs have like a support community, I actually started off a Music Friends program. So this program is called Music Friends, and it was birthed last year, towards the second half of last year,
Yeah.
where I thought there needs to be more consistency in getting this group of people to meet up, just like how
Mm.
teenagers would, like a regular teenagers, they would want to meet their friends, they like to hang out, and maybe they want to get to know their friends a little bit more,
Mm.
but they do not know how to. And because they are in a lockdown, um, they may not, know how to even communicate socially. How do you make friends?
Yeah.
Like, they may have, learned all that in school, and in school, because they meet their friends on a daily basis probably, and they go to the centers regularly, maybe once a week.
Mm-hmm.
So there are more opportunities when you're at physical school. But when you're in a lockdown, I felt that there was this void where there is a need that they need to continue interacting and communicating with the peers. So
Mm.
this program was actually set up last year, and we meet every week.
Mm.
So in a group, we have about maximum 6, I would say, but it's usually about 4 to 6 of them. So we talked about every week we have a different team, like a so-called team discussion, but I gear it towards their levels.
Yeah.
So they are grouped according to their levels, maybe a lower level, a mid level, and higher level. And we try to use music to engage in different team discussions. And we started off with, how do you get to know a person? What kind of questions you need to ask? What can you ask? What are
Mm.
your favorite songs? What's your favorite food? Where do you live? And then we have songs talking about their favorite things and things that make them happy. What are
Yeah.
things that make them sad? And so each week when we come, we have a different question, or we
Mm.
talk about a different topic.
Mm-hmm.
And then I try to engage them a little bit more through maybe a little game, like a musical game, so that
Yeah.
they can take turns to solve like a puzzle, like an online interactive puzzle,
Mm-hmm.
um, or to engage by telling me one of their favorite songs, or if they have a particular song they'd like to share, or they like to sing
Mm.
or play with the group, they can do so. So we actually take turns doing that. So that
Mm.
helps in their turn taking and waiting, learning to wait and listening out for each other as well. So even though some of them may not get the concept at first, like they thought that when you're in there, you just start talking and you just do whatever you want. but
Yeah.
but over time, I guess a parent actually feedback to me that the son actually learns how to wait for his turn to answer questions
Yeah.
and understands now that when I say it's this person's turn, he has to wait for his turn before he
Mm.
gets a chance to express or say play an instrument.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we did some instrument playing like a jamming session as well in
Mm.
some of the
Wow.
sessions. And also some of the other activities that we have done include getting them to either use their own instruments or they get to do some body percussion coordination kind of thing
Mm-hmm.
using music and songs, and also like hand movement kind of activities to get them engaged. So we did a lot of
Mm.
songs like not children's songs, but songs like "We Are the World," "You Raise Me Up," and appealing for teenagers and
Yeah.
young adults.
Right.
Yeah, and we do that. We do that to the movement actually helps because they're more engaged and helps them from I mean it keeps them from just being sedentary all the while,
Mm.
and I guess whenever there's music and movement, it helps to release a bit more endorphins,
Yeah.
hormones, happy hormones, and helps to
Yes.
relax. Yeah, so
Wow.
that yeah, so it has been ongoing. So if any of you are interested, you can always me, or you can find out more.
Yeah, wow, that's amazing. I love that, this initiative is being birthed out from, um a pandemic like right now. And I love that you're still, even with the lockdown, you're still engaging and just feeling the needs of these children and teenagers with special needs with all these activities. And yeah, I really love that. So maybe later towards the end of the podcast, we will be putting Cheryl's information, and I'll also be putting the her contact in the description link. So any of you who are interested to know more about it and or would love to sign up for it, feel free to reach out to Cheryl. Yeah, I believe this is gonna be just such a great engaging activity for any teenagers out there, who's really probably struggling to um engage with just anyone during the lockdown with everything that's happening. So yeah, this is such a cool thing. And thank you, Cheryl, for doing this.
You're welcome. No worries.
So with all the lockdown happening, like we all know that we are staying at home, schools are closed, everything's online. And I think the parents, are really feeling the burden of it as well. I've seen like a just a lot of parents just really saying that they are being burned out, and having their children with them for 24/7, and especially children with special needs, they are not able to just go to school centers and all of that. So are there any advice or suggestions that you could give to parents to help them with engaging their child at home?
Okay. Um, One of the simple ways that we can do is singing.
Mm.
So I find that those for parents with young children at home,
Yeah.
singing is one of the easiest way to engage with the child, and you can do it anytime. Um, And it can be structured or non-structured approach, in the sense that you can use certain songs to do like counting numbers with them, or singing about their favorite food, a particular, theme, or a particular thing that you want to teach them. So you can use songs to actually connect and teach them certain concepts, maybe numbers, alphabets, words, animals. So that is one way, where you can actually engage with them. But you can also use just singing, as in just getting them, because singing is quite a relaxing activity. It's not like a chore where you have to like, please sit down and sit at your table and we are going to sing now.
Yeah.
It's not that kind of thing. So I think children are more responsive when they are at their own time and space. And when they are relaxed, you can just sing a song and see if they engage and verbally connect with you. Maybe for a child who hasn't been very communicative, they might engage with singing. They may sing a tune, or a certain part of the phrase, or even if you don't sing, you can maybe play a song from the YouTube, and just sing along with the song, and see how the child responds. And also, I guess, initially during the pandemic, I actually had a few videos as well that I shared with parents with young children, how to make their own instruments using whatever they have at home, or even if they don't, how they can still make music, or make sounds at home, and engage musically with whatever that they have. So you don't need like expensive instruments,
Right.
things, but really that is more for them to engage musically, using fine and gross motor skills. And it's less threatening as compared to like other structured activities. So I guess these are some ways that you can look into.
Yeah. Wow, these are really great tips. I love that. These are some tips that like people, parents can definitely do it. So if you're listening and you're a parent, you have a child at home, yeah, do sing with your children, or even today, have like what Cheryl said, like using anything that you have currently have at home, and make something out of it, make an instrument, make something that that can produce any sounds, have fun with your children. Yeah, thank you for those tips, Cheryl. I think those are really beneficial, and those are really great tips for a family bonding activity as well. Yeah. All right. And last but not least, I love to ask my guests this last questions before we close for our podcast. So, if there's one tune or song that could describe your career in music therapy, what would that be?
Right, that's a really interesting question, because I haven't really processed that uh, as part of my career over the years.
Yeah.
But it was a good time of just looking back. And when I saw your question, I was like thinking, what actually summarizes my journey? And this song, entitled "I Believe" by Fantasia Barrino, came to mind. I'm not sure if you've heard it, but it was like at that time, it came out during the time where I just finished college, I think, and I was about to enter. I wasn't sure if I should even take up music therapy at that stage. And I was thinking maybe I should consider, after speaking to a few people,
Yeah.
And one of the academic dean of academic actually said to me that she said, "Are you sure?" Because I was from a music college, and music has always been performance, commercial
Right.
based, and very technology based. So she said, "Are you sure you want to go down that road? Because it's not going to be um, I don't know, like money making, as in, as in,
Yeah.
it hasn't really, you know, developed in Malaysia, and it's not
Mm.
going to be as commercial, and it's not easy to start up.
Yeah.
So she told me it has to be a calling, and I kind of took that
Mm.
as it, and I think, yeah, I really have to, um, you know, be sure of myself what I want to do, and along the way, I think my parents and my piano teacher and those that are, who are close to me actually supported me at the start through this journey.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess in this song it says in the second verse, heaven knows your existence and leads you to be everything you are. There's a time for every soul to fly.
Yeah.
It's in the eyes of every child. It's the hope, the love that saves the world. We should never let it go. I believe in the impossible if I reach deep within my heart, overcome any obstacle. Won't let this dream fall apart. See, I strive to be the very best, shine my light for all to see. Because anything is possible when you believe. And I guess
Wow.
that actually, when there were people believing with me and encouraging me into this area,
Yeah.
I felt I felt more affirmed,
Mm.
and it helps me like to achieve better. And in the same way, when I look at my clients right now, I feel that I need to believe in them. And as
Mm.
parents, I always encourage them that they need to believe that their child is able to do better,
Mm-hmm.
and that they are not incapable, but
Yeah.
they are you know, able to do things in different ways.
Mm.
So there are, you know, there may be obstacles and things along the way, but let's not stop believing and believing in them and
Mm-hmm.
believing in ourselves that, you know, we can actually offer them something better, something more.
Wow, that's beautiful. I love it. I really, really love it. Um, I think it really touched me. And just hearing your experiences, from what has inspired you to become a music therapist, and just um going through all the challenges from um, just having to pioneer this whole new journey of music therapy in Malaysia until now, and just really touching lives and families in Malaysia. Yeah, just I really want to thank you for everything that you have done and continue to do, and as how you believe in others, you saw what could um, be done, or know what the potential is in others. And I just see so much of more in you and what you're gonna just continue to achieve in this field. So thank you, Cheryl. This yeah, it's been such a pleasure to hear your journey.
Thank you, Ivy, for this opportunity, and I hope it's you know, for the listeners out there, you're able to actually pick up something useful from here.
Yeah, absolutely. But before we end, where can our listeners connect with you online?
You can email me at
Mm-hmm.
cheryl.musictherapy@gmail.com, or you can look up our MMTA, Malaysian Music Therapy Association website,
Yeah.
contact page. That's where I'm listed.
All right. And I'll also be putting that info with the description link. So, yeah, so people can feel free to connect with Cheryl if you're interested, to join the Music Friends program, or just to connect with her with any questions or more information. So this has been such an insightful episode. Thank you so much again, Cheryl, for being with us and sharing your journey and your experiences. I believe this episode will be super valuable for many people. So if you've enjoyed this episode, feel free to share it with your friends and family. And don't forget to follow us on social media at Live Tunes Music Therapy for more updates. So, yeah, we have come to the end of today's episode. Thank you so much for joining us today and see you in the next episode. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.